All right, welcome in. We hope that we've got a show that we can stream live for you right here from the beautiful 1010XL studios. Coach Campo holed up in beautiful Dallas. I don't know if I'd call it beautiful, but Coach is beautiful. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Joe. Especially after a big win this last weekend. Listen, I'm rolling. I'm ready to go.
Well, that's the name of the game, is to keep heading in the right direction. A 3-1 start to this football season. It's only the second time in 18 years, Coach, that they've been 3-1 at the quarter pole. We know how important it is, so let's get into it. We invite anybody, if you guys are catching us on the social channels, to jump in the chat, throw a thought our way. Joe C. from XL Primetime, Coach Campo, our head coach. And when we look back at this game, more than anything else, Coach, the takeaways jump to the top of the list. They are hitting. They are getting the ball out. They're making people uncomfortable, and it's leading to wins.
Well, we kind of saw that in preseason, practice and, training camp, all that. I thought they, were really emphasizing it more, which I think is the most important thing. And I thought Liam made a comment in the press conference after the game that I thought was relevant. He made the statement that there was a play in practice where they threw the ball to one of our receivers, and there were 5 guys that showed up at the receiver, and all 5 of them were ripping and punching and pulling. That's it. It's energy and effort and getting around the ball. And that also adds, to the interceptions. Guys, if they're in the right spots and they're active and they're energetic and going for the football, good things happen. The only problem you have, Joe, is that a lot of times they come in bunches, and you can't count on just the turnover. I mean, obviously turnovers are the key, but you're not going to get it every week. You've got to be able to do some other things, and that's what they have to continue to get better at.
Yeah, I take a look at some of the stats, the third down percentage, how many times they're getting teams off the field and getting them to punt the football back to this offense. That's still going to be a big concern. You start to take a look at some of the overall stats on the offensive side as well, Coach. They definitely have done a good job of finding their way in the end zone. Right now, passing yards per game, they're just over 200 yards, which was tied 18th. Rushing the football, they're top 4 in the league right now, and they're among the best in terms of total overall yardage. But yeah, the takeaways, being physical, maximizing your opportunity, working with a short field because you gave the ball back to your offense. And then Trevor doesn't necessarily need to be all of that every single game, because the run game's helping, and obviously the idea that they're holding other teams down scoring wise has been huge.
Yeah, I mean, we're only giving up like 18 points a game. Now, again, this is going to be a tremendous test this weekend, as we can talk about a little later. But, really, in all honesty, the offense, the defense, if they turn the ball over, you got a great opportunity as long as you don't turn it over back to them. The more opportunities the offensive has to do something is the key. And, still, I'm convinced that the reason that we're scoring points, in my opinion, is number one, they're getting more opportunities. But number two, the run game is keeping them out of really third and long situations in a lot of cases, because we're really not executing that well on third and long. To me, I think the biggest thing is to stay on par. People ask me all the time, I probably said it on a number of our shows, that, how do you stop third down? Well, you on defense, you do well on first and second down, because the third down, if it's 3rd and 7 or more, you're going to win the vast majority of those. So, the run game is the key to what's going on with everything on offense, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I like the direction, the physical nature of the run game. And then also let's pair up the takeaways and those big plays that we've seen in the run game. The thing I love, and I know you love it, is that when you make a big play defensively and you give the ball back to your offense, then you make that other team pay with a big play. So think about what happened very early in the game against San Francisco. They punched the ball out of Luke Farrell's hands, and immediately they get back on offense, and Travis Etienne bust loose for that big score. That is a huge double sudden change for this football team.
Yeah, no question. And really, again, the thing that hurt us, even last year offensively, when you look at it, we had a number of really long drives, but we didn't have any big plays at all. And the big plays, you have to have some big plays offensively in the game to win a bunch of games. The more times well, first of all, against this team coming up, I'd like to have some drives in there to keep the other team off the field. But the longer the drives are, there's more chances to make mistakes. And we've had too many penalties so far. We have to clean up. But the more drives you have, the more chance you have for those kind of plays to happen. And, again, I think when you turn the ball over, if you can take advantage of that, that goes a long way, as you said.
Yeah, when you go back to the early part of the 49ers game and you think about what Trevor really has done the last couple of games, being able to drive and get points on the board early and distribute the ball. You got 2 running backs involved, 2 tight ends involved, 2 receivers involved. They dealt with the De'Ami Brown injury by moving the ball around to some other guys, and they definitely got it going, and they were able to get on the scoreboard early. Now, ETN, with that 48-yard run, they go up 7-3. And then they turn right around and they put themselves in position again defensively to make something happen. So, Coach, those early points, they will help obviously with the leaderboard, with the scoreboard, but it also will help your pass rush a little bit because now you can be a little more aggressive if you work with the lead.
Absolutely. I mean, the more, and especially when the team is not running the ball on you, you can let it eat on defense, and I think we've done a pretty good job against the run. And I think that's something that makes a difference. We talk about it all the time. Run the football on offense, keep yourself balanced, and on defense, stop the run and force him to throw the ball all the time. And then if you've got opportune guys like we've shown to this point, that's when you get the turnovers and that's what keeps the score down.
All right, so they're 3-1, and let's just be honest. When you open up the season against a bad Carolina team at home, you had to take advantage of it. This team did. Then you go up to Cincinnati. You can't believe it. Joe Burrow gets knocked out of that game, and they weren't able to stop Jake Browning late. Look what Jake Browning has turned into. He's turned into a pumpkin in October now, and other teams are beating up on him. You'd love to have that game back if you could, but that's just the way it goes. And then you go to these last 2 games. They held C.J. Stroud down. They did a great job defensively against him. And then you got a Brock Purdy that wasn't 100% healthy. So they've caught a break or 2, taken advantage of it. Now, like you said, stopping Pat Mahomes, that's a whole different animal.
This is going to be a real challenge. And I think some people counted the Kansas City Chiefs out early. Mm-hmm. I've seen this before with teams that we've had in Dallas, where the first few ball games with a good team, it's almost like an extended preseason. You're finding out what you can do, and you got new players because every year Kansas City loses players. Right. They were supposed to be not very good defensively because they lost a few guys. Well, the first few ball games they struggled, and then all of a sudden now they're playing pretty good defense. So, it's the same thing on offense. They started out slow. Worthy being hurt is a big deal for them. They've got Marquise Brown, who had a great first game but has struggled since. You got Juju Schuster. Once Worthy got back, then these other guys started making plays. So, they're still explosive. It's a case of us really showing who we are this week, in my opinion. You're looking at a really good football team. Again, if you ask me, am I predicting a win? I don't know that I can 100% predict a win, but I know one thing: if it's a good football game, we've improved. And I think we've improved as a football team. I think it's going to be a good football game.
Yeah, because it's funny, when you take a look at the history of these 2 franchises, at least the last 2 or 3 times they've been able to play one another, Jacksonville has stayed in a lot of these games. We know the heartbreak of the Agnew fumble inside the 10 in the divisional round when they had a chance maybe to ice a game. It is so hard to knock out Pat Mahomes. Okay, there's just no getting away from it. So anytime you do have a chance to score, you better make it 7 as opposed to 3 if you can. And the other thing I do like about the physical nature of this football team is the way they come into a game and physically hit you. It changes things. It makes this team more confident on both sides of the ball because of the physical nature that Anthony Campanile and, for that matter, Liam Cohen has brought to Duval.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that's one of the things that they made a big point of. And again, you've heard me say this many times. If you have a clear picture of what your football team wants to look like, you want them to look like, those are the kind of guys you bring in. And I think that they've done that. I think that they brought in guys that are, everybody looked at Macari and looked at Hainsey and looked at some of these guys and said, well, how much are we improving here? But in reality, the physical nature of those guys are what they were looking for. And that's shown up. I think the difference between what you just said a minute ago of us hanging with hanging with Kansas City is I look at that differently than I look at this team. They hung in with those guys last year because I got San Francisco on the mind because I'm so excited about the win. But last year, Kansas City and the year before took the Jacksonville Jaguars lightly. I don't believe they're taking the Jacksonville Jaguars lightly this year. So if they hang with them and it's a ball game, I'm saying that that's improvement on our part because they're going to look at us and say, hey, this is our chance to really jump out there too because we're on national television and those guys are playing pretty good right now. So I think this is going to be a little bit different situation.
Yeah, and honestly, other teams, they measure themselves, the great ones, by winning divisions, by winning playoff games, by obviously pursuing that Lombardi. And we know what the Kansas City Chiefs were doing. They won 2 of the last 3. They played in the last 3. They got a ton of accolades. This team is on the climb. They want to prove that they can get back to regular every year perennial playoff contention, not 1 year and then 5 years not to be heard from. That's the goal here. And Liam Cohen has done it, honestly, in a short amount of time, Coach. His belief about running the football and being tough, what Campanile has brought, what Tony Baselli has brought. And then let's get to Jimmy Gladstone's here in a minute because the players, like you just mentioned, the Hainseys, the McCarys of the world, dude, they have made a major difference on this football team. Yeah,
there's no question. I mean, I'm really impressed with the offensive line. They've had a couple of holding penalties that they got to get rid of, but sometimes in the game of football, they beat you. And if they beat you in a situation where they can hit your quarterback, you got to hold them. That's the name of the game. And sometimes that happens. I think our offensive line is playing way above what they've done in the past. And I think that's a definite strength. I think when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they've got a couple holes. They are not a very good run defense team, and they've been one of those over the years. They're not quite as good as they've been, and that gives us a little bit of an advantage there. And they are not running the football very well. So again, if you force a team to throw the ball all the time, there's going to be some issues. And that's what's happened to this point. I think one of the things that Spagnuolo will do going into this game, though, is he's going to make sure they stop the run. So Trevor's going to have to compete, and the receivers are going to have to compete in this football game offensively if we're going to have a chance to win. But at the same time, don't give up on the run. Jacksonville, whether you're getting 7 yards a carry or you're getting 2 yards a carry, keep the game balanced.
Yeah. And look, Coach, as well as I do, you've called a lot of games where you feel like you've taken one thing away and you're going to make them beat you, be it the run or the pass, and that other team just figures you out. Because what they do well. And this team is at the very least starting to take shape and prove to you that they can run the ball well. Now, let's go back real quick. the Houston Texans first half. This team only ran the ball for 11 yards because Houston decided we're going to take that away, which is crazy, but that's what it was. They were forcing Trevor to beat them. Can Kansas City do the same thing and take the run away?
Well, they've got a couple of guys, that should be able to do well. They've got Karlaftis on the edge. That's really a pretty good pass rusher. But this Lott kid that they brought in, that is really helping them in the run game. He and Jones give them a pretty good inside game, and they just have to commit to it a little bit more, in my opinion. So I think they're going to come in with the idea that we're going to have to throw the ball to beat them, in my opinion. But don't give up on the run. Make the passing game come off of the run, regardless of whether it's being extremely successful or not. And I think that we'll be okay.
Yeah, Karlaftis right now is another guy that's standing out on the defensive side. Chris Jones, we always gravitate to him, but Karlaftis, these numbers are impressive. 18 tackles in the first 4 games, 6 for loss, 10 quarterback hits, 3 sacks, and he's honestly balling right now. Chris Jones, 1 sack, but also his pressure rate is up there, 15 pressures, so he gets after the quarterback. Real quick on Trevor, the way he has gone about it so far this year, Coach, he is still making 1 or 2 bad decisions, maybe locking on a receiver, but his feet are better, and it does look like, for the most part, he's using a lot of his weapons.
Yeah, I think, this last ball game is an example. We lucked out on the one. I guess it's not luck. The guy was holding. He got called for holding. He threw the interception, but the guy, that was part of the reason he threw the interception. The guy wasn't exactly where he's supposed to be. So, but when you look at it, we eliminated the drops in the game. If we can eliminate the drops, Trevor's percentage is going to go up. There's no question about it. And, as long as we're balanced and he's able to step up, and he's been able to step up now, that is a big key in the passing game, is if he can step up into the pocket, he'll find some guys open. He's doing a better job of reading defenses. I think he's doing an excellent job of checking off to plays that are going to give him an opportunity to be successful. I think those things are in all honesty, are a work in progress, because I don't think this is his 4th year, right? Is that correct? This is going to be his 5th. Well, in the 4 prior to this year, I haven't seen him be able to step up into the pocket at all. So this particular year, I think the guys up front are doing a good job in the interior. I think Cleveland's come a long way. I think he's a better football player now than he was a year ago. I think Kainsey is done excellent. I think Macari's a good player. They didn't lose a thing when Adoga came in for a few snaps at tackle. They've got a much better offensive line situation, and it's allowing Trevor to step up and be able to make some throws.
Yeah, and both tackles, by and large, have been good.
Yeah.
Walker Little, we know, gave up a couple pressures. Anton Harrison was in and out of the lineup the other day, but he has been playing his rear end off. And there's no doubt about it, Coach. 2 things have happened. The line play is better, and Liam is forcing Trevor to trust his eyes, trust those around him, and extend the play. Don't do something reckless. Don't let the ball pop out of your hands in the pocket. Make sure that you step up. And he hasn't nailed all of this, but You're right, Coach. He's a little more aware of everything around him and feeling a little bit better about who's blocking for him.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to, if it's there, to take off and run. He still doesn't know how to slide. He's not going to slide. He dove for a first down in that last ball game. I mean, hey, the guy's a competitor. He just got to be smart enough that how important he is, and I don't think he's figured that out yet, because I don't think he's felt like he's that important over the last 5 years. But he's important now, and he's got to learn that. But he will take off, and he can run. So, to me, he's better. I think he's going to get better as the year goes on.
Well, I definitely hope we see a little more active movement from him, design rollouts. Maybe he does decide to take off and really make these defenders respect the ability he has to improvise and take off and make plays, especially if they are down in the receiving department. Now, he didn't get down, could have killed the clock had he got down before running out of bounds, but the next play he made up for it with a beautiful call, decision at the line, and got the ball to Hunter Long to seal the game. That was big.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what he hasn't done. I mean, this is new. Yeah. He obviously listen, the game that they lost at Cincinnati, he had a drive at the end of the game. He's in the fourth quarter, he's playing better, and that's a plus.
All right, so let's wrap up with just a thought or two heading into Monday night. Kind of sum up what you have been feeling and thinking as we've gone through our show, or as you look ahead to Kansas City.
Well, I think number one, it's a great test for our football team. I think that they're going to be intent on playing their best, and we've got to play our best. But you listen to all the people that are talking out of Kansas City, and I know, obviously I was at the University of Kansas, so I know a lot of people in Kansas. They're all talking about the fact that this is not the typical Jaguar football team, and these are football guys. And listen, it's not just what they're reading. They've watched some of the games. They know that this is a different team. So we've got to go in with the confidence that we have with a 3-1 record. But at the same time, it's what we do energy-wise gives us a chance to win the football game. I think Trevor's going to have to perform in this one along with the receivers. I think the running game has got to be there, but it's not going to be, I don't see it being a 150-yard, game like we've had to the past. I see them. I know Spagnuolo, he's not going to let Etienne is the most dangerous guy on the football team to him right now when he's looking at the game. Yeah. So he's going to try to take that away. But that forces some of our guys to make some plays. And, that's got to happen. It's going to happen throughout the year. From a defensive standpoint, they are not a very good run football team. So we've got to go in with the idea that we've got to do some things to eliminate Worthy, because Worthy's a big time guy. Yeah. He had 5 receptions or something like 80 yards and 2 runs for 38. So he was over 100, and it opened up some other guys. So they've got to be on point in the passing game. I think the running game is going to take care of itself. And if we can do those things, I think, and turn the ball over, if we can force them into situations where, you got a chance to go get the football, that's going to be a big thing.
Yeah, Steve Spagnuolo definitely will have something dialed up for stopping Etienne and that run game, and then forcing Trevor and basically see what he's got. And you know how good he is. So real quick, as we wrap this up, we go from that defensive coordinator Spagnuolo that you mentioned. Last week, the defensive coordinator calling out Liam Cohen. They almost got into a full-on fracas on the field where Robert Saleh vowed to end Liam Cohen's life, which is just unbelievable. That guy is a knucklehead.
That is a knucklehead. Listen, all I can tell you is both of them were stupid in that conversation. I can tell you that. But I've been in them. So I know that. So I know what happens in the key games. But in reality, listen, I'm not worried about my boy over there in San Francisco.
Yeah.
He lost. He's finished.
Yeah.
But with Liam, I like his fire. I like his passion.
Yes.
I think it shows up. I think it shows up with the team. One of the things that excited us the most back in February when this staff joined us was Campanile talking about kicking people's butt, butt kicking and all that. That's my style. I love it. And I think that helps our football team get that edge and that swagger that you need to win games in the NFL.
I think if you were on the field with Liam, both of you guys could have taken down Robert Saleh. I have no doubt.
Listen, I know Saleh. I don't want to get anywhere near him. I'll take Brian Kelly, but I'm not taking on Saleh.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right, as we wrap it up, Breaks by Duval TV chiming in. Coach Camp is right, and we got to lay the wood one good time on Worthy, and that'll cut all that out. And honestly, he's freakish fast. He's that type of guy, and Andy Reid will scheme him up where he does get loose, and so you got to account for him. It's kind of what Liam was trying to do with Diami here before he got hurt, but our viewer is right there. Put a knot on his head if you can.
Absolutely. And I think our team is that type of a team. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Great stuff. We appreciate it. Thanks to all of y'all for tuning in. If you find us on the Jaguars YouTube channel with 1010XL or anywhere else, Campo and Joe, we always like hanging out on a Thursday morning. We'll have Coach on with us tomorrow on XL Primetime as we look forward to our picks. We'll be out at Furyk and Friends, Coach. So we're going to miss you out there. I know you love coming out and checking out the scenery there.
Yeah, that's a good one. You guys will have a great time, and I'll be joining you, but it'll be from afar.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Sounds good. Thanks to all of y'all. Thanks to Yoda for making sure that we got the job done this morning with a little Campo and Joe.
Thanks, Jacob, and go Jags.